Good day. So let me continue on my journey as I exit government to a well-deserved retirement. I'm telling you all stories of my work at Bonnyton as a child. I used to work about right throughout government, and so I'm going to be fast forwarding now a little bit. Last time I told you how things turned around at Bonnyton. How just became a force to be reckoned with in this field of scientific work. People from all over the country came and visit. And then let's move on to post 1994. Elections took place. New government is put in place, and the role of Bonnyton changed dramatically. 1994, the ruling was that because we were signatories to the United Nations Convention on the Rights of Children, that no child should be kept in prison. And so all the children who were kept in prisons in the Western Cape had to be released. And our role then changed. But between in about 1992, 1991, 1992, thereabout, at Bonnyton, as a staff, we decided that we need to change, need to come to the environment at the organization. And we actually the first facility, government facility, that went on a full-blown strike. But one of the things that the people don't know about the strike was that as staff, we actually prepared the children very, very well before we embarked on this action. And to be quite honest with you, that we had the support of the children because we did our work. We made sure in the morning they got up. We made sure that they got what they needed to get. We didn't take away any of their rights in any way by leaving them unsupervised. We had people who were taking care of them, minimal staff who took care of them. Those who had to go to court, we allowed them to go to court. Although we locked the gates, but the children went to court. And we got very good response. And to be quite honest with you, is that the stuff that we at Bonnyton fought for, those things are still in place, and people are still benefiting by those things up until today. But yeah, so that was an episode in the lives of Bonnyton. Some people ridiculed us for what we did, but we knew what we did, and we knew that we did it for the best interest, not only for the staff, although the benefit was for the staff, like they got overtime, we got uniform allowance, we got transport, we got and those are things that was all in the legislation, but we weren't made aware of the legislation that was in place. It wasn't necessary for us to really go on a strike. Management just came out and said, guys, but this is in the legislation. But what we did get was we got our overtime backdated to a certain time, and so some people really benefited by that. But in any case, we moved on 1994, 1995. The signature to the United Nations Convention on the Rights of Children, and then also they had to be removed out of facilities, out of prisons, into the facilities. At that stage, Bonnyton was upgraded. We were upgraded, we were made very, very modern, but then this group of young people moved in, which there was some uncertainty, there was some fear, I would say, because now we're going to get a group of children that we felt as staff we weren't equipped for to deal with. And then management made sure that we went and did another course through the NSCCW. We did another course in secure care, but we weren't declared as a secure care facility because we were still having a portion of children who were there on children's court inquiries. Those children was found in care protection, but the majority are now children awaiting trial. And we didn't have any more children who was on their way to the next placement. So we only had trial awaiting children or children of care and protection. But then over the time, the children of care protection were phased out, and we then only basically had children who were trial awaiting. So our role and function began to change completely, and the clientele also changed. But it wasn't like what we've learned in child as in the teachings that you couldn't apply, because in the beginning we thought it's a different category of child, but it's not. It's a child, and when we began to deal with them as children and not as to what was on the J7, because some of them came in there for attempted murder, some of them came in for murder, some of them came in for robbery with aggravating circumstances, some of them came for assault, uh, GB8s, yeah, and some of them hijacking. There's really a conglomerate of boys coming in there for some, I would say, violent. And we thought that, you know what, we need to have a special skill to deal with these children. And that's not necessarily what you need, because children are children, needs are the same, developmental stages are the same. The only thing is they might be have committed another crime, but it's still the same child. So once we began to understand in the beginning, like in a water situation, you feel lost and you don't know what to do. But once we began to get the hang of the kind of child we have there, and began to deal with them as people and not as what the J7 said, then it was plain sailing for us to understand. Children used to spin stories of all the things they did, but once you get to know the human being, the person, then it is just applying your child and his knowledge, that, and then everything was fine. So we then had only mainly child awaiting children. Like I said in the beginning, things didn't go the way it should go. I remember that there was a big riot where the boys practically destroyed Bonitun. Um, but the staff dealt with that, and staff with different views and opinions. An investigation was conducted, and they could identify how and where we dealt with it incorrectly, and we corrected those things, and so everything just continued to move, and we just applied ourselves differently. Unfortunately, some staff got attacked by the boys, and that happened. It did happen in the previous case, but then we also had very easily of removing children, which we didn't really wanted to do, because we felt that we need to be able to create an environment, even though the boys is different category, but they're still children. But we need to create an environment where we try and make sure that they are comfortable in the environment. We stuck to stuff like they could phone twice a week. They could phone. We also arranged that I think once a month we could take them home for a 2-hour home visit. And remember the trial waiting. So just actually against what the J7 says, because the J7 says they must be there. But the magistrate said that once a child is placed with us, whatever we do with the child, that is nothing to do with them. Or we must make sure it's a child that appears in court when he must appear. And so we could basically continue to do those things. We still continue to be involved in sports. But this time, most of our games were played at home, both soccer and rugby. The team used to come in and play there, and it was actually nice. Some of the boys actually went to played under the name of a club, and they went to continue to play out in the community. So on a Saturday morning, the club members would come pick them up, and one or two staff members would go with them to go and play where they had to play. So that was good. So yeah, so that was the environment that we were in now, and different environment. And we really had to change our approach in terms of how do we deal with this, but sticking to the fundamentals of building relationships, which is very important. I mean, you cannot be building relationships with children behind bars. You have to be engaging with them all the time, talk to them, be aware. Yeah, but it was just applying child and care principles. Doesn't matter who the child is, but apply the principles. Don't look at why the child is in your care, because once you begin to look at why the child is in your care, then you will find that your approach will be a bit different. But if you just deal with the child the way you have to deal with a child as a child, then you will be able to deal with them effectively. So yeah, so that is now we are now living with those children in our care. And yeah, but it was, and that went up until I left Bonito. They're still the same category of child. Although somebody said to me, I don't think the same children that I is placed now that I used to work with at Bonito. It's not about the child, it's about the needs of the child. And so yeah, so that's where I'm gonna go now. In my next videos, I'll be talking more about education and training in terms of child and also the man involvement within the NSCCW. Thank you for watching. Bye.